Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 1 of the Vampire Diaries. This is a donation reward series from Smurf Vlog, so thank you for the donation, Smurf, as always. And let's talk about what I know about this series, because it's very little. I know it's a drama series about vampires. There's romance in it. And it's oftentimes memed by people, from my experience, from what I've seen. It has been memed by people for being super melodramatic. Like, really melodramatic. I don't know any of the characters. I don't know any plot lines or anything. I don't even know how many seasons this is. Basically, I've just heard people talk about it, kind of joking around about it and stuff. I'm, I guess, vaguely interested in checking it out. It's not like it's been anything that's been on a list for me or anything, to my knowledge. But I mean, I kind of like vampires. I mean, I like Dracula and stuff. I like Interview with a Vampire. I don't know how this would compare to anything like that. I mean, I assume, based on everything I have heard, that it's more of your typical teen drama series than, actual vampire stuff. I don't know how much like typical vampire lore they're gonna follow. I don't expect it to necessarily be like Twilight or anything, but I don't know if like they're gonna follow the entire thing about not being able to go out in the day, or garlic, or not being able to enter a building unless invited. I think it's specifically private residences that only counts for, but I'm not 100% on that. But stuff like that. I'm wondering if it is going to follow all of that at all. Because I could just see it being like, oh, they're vampires because they have fangs and drink blood. I could see it being like a simple thing like that. And it doesn't need to be exact, because it's like, I've seen like vampires and like Supernatural and stuff, and it's like, yeah, it wasn't exactly like a lot of the mythos you hear and see and read about and all. But it's like, they still made vampires interesting and entertaining to face off against for the Winchester Bros and all in Supernatural. So it's possible to do it without crossing off every little notch in that typical vampire list. But still, I'm just wondering, like, what is this going to be like? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. With me, it's kind of impossible to tell what I will and will not like anyway, so like, some things that you would think I would like, I don't. Some things that you would think I would hate, I love. So it's hard to say. And while I typically don't tend to like these teen dramas, because I think they're just unrealistic and kind of stupidly melodramatic, you never know. It might be one of those cases where I enjoy it. Again, I can't say with any certainty without seeing it first, so we're just going to check it out, see what we've got in store, and kind of go from there. Um, so let's just do so. Each episode is about like they're hour length episodes, but cutting out commercials and all. It's about 40 minutes or so. So yeah, it's one of the longer series, but we'll be fine with one episode a week for the time being. Um, let's get this going. See what we have. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this was interesting. I'll say that. It wasn't bad, but I wouldn't call it anything spectacular either. If I had to describe it in a simple way, I would say it's like Twilight, clearly. And this series actually came out like the year after the first Twilight movie did, but it could have also, taken from the books and everything. Because Twilight was this huge craze. Like with the books and everything, and that's why I got the movies and everything. It was this huge craze. Like, even I read all the books and saw all the movies. Now, obviously, looking back on it, I realize how stupid they are and everything. But, yeah. I mean, I got into them too, mostly because my sister was into them briefly, and I read her copies of the books and saw the movies through that and all. But this is like Twilight, but taken more seriously. Like, Twilight is clearly, like, ridiculously hammy. It is super hammy and goofy and dumb. This is a more serious version of that. Like, obviously, you have the girl who's kind of like an outcast in a way. And this centuries old vampire and everything who's masquerading as a teenager gives her these brooding looks, and she falls for him and everything. And he's a quote-unquote vampire vegetarian because he doesn't bite humans. It's very much Twilight. It's very much Twilight. Like, you could even compare Damon, I think his name was, to the likes of James, or I think their name was the Volturi. The bad vampires in the Twilight series, the Twilight saga. James would probably be the more accurate one, just based on, the first movie / book of Twilight. You could make that comparison, like being like seeing themselves as stronger and as quote unquote real vampires because they do attack humans and drink blood and everything. Yeah, there's a lot you could make comparisons to here. Because of the Twilight craze, they probably saw the opportunity and decided to make this series. The Twilight craze probably like made them like see like, oh, we have a market here. All these horny teenage girls want these cute vampire boys and everything, and it's like, so let's grab that market by making this dramatic teenage vampire TV show. That's kind of what this comes across as. And again, they definitely made this a lot darker and more serious than Twilight. Obviously, a lot of the classic vampire mythos is more intact here. And they actually explained how he could go out in the sun and everything. He has the ring. The ring is actually this magical artifact that allows him to survive in sunlight. I like that. That is actually smart. Um, there have been multiple like ways vampires could go out in the sun throughout the years. I stated the entire sunblock thing in the reaction, and it's like I hate that. I hate when any kind of vampire media uses shit like that. Um, but a magical artifact would definitely be probably the best explanation. Obviously, you have stuff like Blade, where he's a daywalker, where he's like a specific like form of a vampire that can survive in the sunlight. But yeah, I like the magical artifact idea. Um, and you see all these other different things that are typical with vampires. You see flight. You see the the inability to enter a private residence without expressed permission, stuff like that. You see all this stuff that is like, yeah, that's a vampire thing, and it's like, okay, they've actually done their research here. More so than Stephanie Meyer did when she created Twilight. um, of course, Twilight also started off as a 50 Shades of Grey fan fiction or something like that. Or, no, I think it was the other way around. I think 50 Shades of Grey started off as a Twilight fan fiction. Yeah, I think that's how it went. Either way, Twilight was not well researched. Um, it's basically like, let's just take the most common vampire tropes, play around with them a bit, and make stupid decisions about sparkling. And it's like, ugh. But this one is definitely a lot more serious. I don't know, like, who the fan favorite characters are yet. So it's hard to say, like, if this is going to be an unpopular opinion or not. But my first instinct, just based off of this first episode, and obviously that means nothing and it can change at the drop of a hat, basically. My first instinct as of a favorite character right now is actually the blonde girl. I that might be super unpopular. I don't know. But just that entire moment in the cafe where she kind of like revealed like her insecurities and the reason why she was like going after these guys like Stefan and all. It's like that actually kind of like felt real to me. Like the idea of like just wanting to find someone because of insecure feelings and just being really genuinely upset over not being chosen time and time again and seeing others get chosen without even trying while you're trying your hardest. It's just the idea of like putting forth all that effort and not having anything to show for it. I think a lot of people can relate to that general idea. And yeah, obviously we get the idea that she was trying too hard and that she was trying to force it, as I said in the reaction. But I don't know, something about that interaction just seemed very genuine and real to me and just kind of made me like her a bit. None of the other characters really like hooked me in this first episode. Stefan is just he's a more serious Edward. From again bringing the Twilight comparisons because you got to, because they're very much the same kind of deal. Stefan is a more serious Edward. He's more serious. He's more believable. And his struggles are taken in a more serious way too. Like with Twilight, you honestly just don't believe Edward's struggles at all. Like they seem like so forced and ridiculous. Like he doesn't look like he's actually struggling with anything. But here, the actor who plays Stefan actually does a good job at it, even if some of it's a little corny. I made the like comparison like when he looked away when she was bleeding and everything and started like looking like broodingly. Like I made the comparison to Twilight because yeah, Edward did the same thing in Twilight, but the performance of the two actors was very different. And that could be due to a lot of reasons. Because Robert Pattinson's a good actor, but he did not do that well in those movies. It was too goofy, and that could be due to direction or just inexperience at the time. I don't know. But this actor definitely did a much better job, even at that. The main lead female character, I don't remember all the names right now. She was okay. I mean, she wasn't like Bella from Twilight. Like, she was definitely a different kind of character. Had a little more tragedy in her past than Bella did. And definitely, it definitely seemed to affect her a lot more. Than anything did with Bella. And again, that's not even the actress's fault. Like, Kristen Stewart's a great actress. It's just not a good role for her. But yeah, she was okay. I have nothing against her. I like her friend, the one who was having the entire fortune telling thing going on, who doesn't actually believe she's psychic, but is just like joking around about it until she actually has a real vision suddenly. And it's just like, I kind of like her. She's cute. She's fun. She has a good personality. She's a nice character. The brother seems very sympathetic. Like, he definitely has a lot going on in his mind. He's very hurt by everything that happened with their parents, and he's dealing with it in his own way. It's not a healthy way, as I said in the reaction. It's very much not a healthy way. But it's something for him right now. And sometimes people need to go through bad things to make the worst things less. In a way. I would try to be helping him through it rather than his sister, who's like being super judgmental and confrontational about it. I don't think she's actually helping matters with that, with the way she's handling talking to him. The aunt isn't much of a character at this point. She's just kind of there. She'll probably become a character more down the line. Damon is an effective bad guy from the start. I will say that. He's not like the best villain or anything I've seen, but he's effective. He definitely comes across as intimidating, definitely comes across as strong and skillful. He knows what he's doing, and he comes across as an active threat based on what he has done in this town so far. And the fact that he's going after the blonde girl concerns me. Because, again, she's kind of my go-to, just first impression favorite character right now. Just because she's the one who did actually leave a notable impression on me. I hope she doesn't die. That would be rude, especially like if Damon is like the first guy that actually gives her attention and everything. Like, that would be sad. The story is it's very much like Twilight. Again, girl is dealing with shit. She meets the vampire. They start to gain interest in each other. He's a little creepy about it. She's a little airheaded about it. And a threat comes along where they have to that has to be dealt with. There's obviously some more different things in here as well, some different with different characters and different scenarios and all, but there's not much to talk about with it yet. I feel like you definitely have to see more before you can say anything in regards to that. I'm wondering if this girl who is bit and survived, though, if she is going to be a vampire. Like, has she been turned, or is she just a survivor? And if she did survive, then were they just lucky to find her in time, or did Damon leave her alive on purpose? There's a lot of questions that go along with this. So, yeah, definitely curious as to what's going on here with that. But yeah, so far with this first episode, it's not bad. It's again nothing spectacular. It's definitely it's better than I expected, and I do kind of get a kick out of all like the music I recognize and stuff like that. There's some things that are obviously kind of dumb in it, like the fact that the girl thinks chill is like high talk or something. It's like, what? This series came out in 2009. In 2009, everyone was saying chill. In fucking 2005, everyone was saying chill. And again, I swear I've heard a lot of people in 80s movies say that. 90s movies for sure. That's not high talk. Like, what? I don't know. But yeah. Um, there were definitely some fun moments too, like when Stefan corrected the teacher about the death toll and everything. That was kind of fun, even though again, it's lucky they didn't have a teacher who would have gotten angry at that because I've actually seen that in real life of a student correcting a teacher, the teacher getting angry and actually sending the student to the principal's office for it. I am not joking. That has happened in a class I was in. I don't remember all the details. I think it was a history class though. Like I think it was history there as well, but I'm not 100% on that because that was a long time ago. I graduated from high school over 10 years ago now. So it's like I don't remember exactly, but I know that happened for sure. I also remember this one moment where a student made a teacher cry because he was that much of a fucking asshole. And my god, like he almost made me cry because of how like bad he railed into her and how bad he was being. It was also the last time I ever saw him in the school, funny enough. And I saw him multiple times before that because he was in multiple classes of mine. I never saw him again after that point. I don't know if he was expelled or what, but or if he just stopped going to school. I don't know, but it's like that was a memorable moment. Not really anything to do with this, but it just made me think of that because that moment lives in my head very vividly. I even remember his name. His name, funny enough, I guess that actually does connect with this because his name was Sal, and Stefan's last name is Salvatore or something like that. But yeah, this kid's name was Sal. He was Sicilian. Um, he was a really shitty person, if I'm being honest. A really shitty person, and that day he made the teacher cry was just like, my God, he railed into her in the worst way. But yeah, it's just like there are certain things that leave an impact on you, even in high school. That's just like you will remember, even if you have like not the best memory like me. That was one of them. Um, Even just the actual thing I was talking about, um, compared to this series with the correcting the teacher thing, was one of them. But yeah, so they're lucky they had a teacher who just kind of looked shocked by the correction. But that was a fun moment and everything. There were some moments that were a little unbelievable too, like the I don't know what I assume was a squirrel hitting their windshield, and then them like freaking out for a second, and then just kind of forgetting it happened, and just like talking like, oh, well, things are going to be great this year and everything. It's like, dude, a squirrel or something just slammed into your windshield while you were driving down the street. You're not going to investigate that. I don't get why they just suddenly forgot about it. That would be like I would, especially when they were like swerving all around and had to basically come to an emergency stop. It's like at that point I would be getting out of the car and checking to make sure there was like no issues. So it's like I don't know. But yeah. Like I said, not as bad as I would have expected. Um but not anything spectacular, not anything like great or whatnot. Um, Definitely got to give it more of a chance to see like what I really feel about it, to see where it goes and everything as well. Again, I don't know how many seasons this is, so I don't know exactly how long or how to expect how long it's going to last and everything. And heck, I don't even know if I'll end up liking it overall. Like, this was just a first episode. First impressions aren't always everything, contrary to what some people might tell you. Um, First impressions can oftentimes be wrong, in fact. So it's like, I'm going to give it some more chances, of course, because it definitely wasn't anything bad. Um, this is clearly a series, though, that I would never have chosen to watch on my own. It's definitely not the kind of show that I would watch on my own. But again, it might end up being a lot better than I would expect. We'll have to see. Um, in the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what do you think of the first episode of The Vampire Diaries? And as always, no spoilers in the comments, please. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.